everyone, Bladesofgod here from Hammer Bros Gaming, coming at you with the newest installment in our Gears Tactics, Immortal Legion Achievement Guide. This video is going to be covering the Act 3, Chapter 2 side missions. We're running a Sabotage Scavenger Run and a Rescue mission this time. And this video is a little bit on the long side, so settle in. Don't worry if you don't have that much time. I'm going to put some time codes in the description below, so you can go ahead and skip ahead to the part of the video that will actually be pertinent to you. If you're not familiar with the Immortal Legion Achievement, the achievement tasks us with completing the entirety of the Gears Tactics campaign on the hardest difficulty setting, which is the Insane difficulty setting, without losing a single unit in combat. Don't worry, if we do lose a unit, we can always restart our mission, restart our checkpoint, or restart our even chapter if we have to. If you find this video helpful, if you find this video series helpful, please consider leaving a like on the video, leaving a comment letting us know that it's helping you out, and please consider subscribing to Hammer Bros Gaming, our YouTube channel. You can always check us out on Twitch, just search for Hammer Bros Gaming as well, and join our Hammer Nation, our ever-growing group of followers who find our content helpful. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to check out the video. Like I said, I hope it helps you out, but that's enough from me. Let's dive right into the guide because I'm sure that's why everyone's here. So right off the bat here, we're going to do a Wasteland Scavenger Run called Flaming Thunder. As this is a scavenger run, we're going to be using our solo scout method. So we're only going to be running one scout, and we're going to be running Marcella as she's our primary scout. Looking at her equipment here, you can see that she's set up as a grenade heavy user, but we're going to switch her out with some equipment here. We're going to give her the Ranger kit. The Ranger kit, which we want that blitz skill. That blitz skill is going to give her a chance at an extra action point if she doesn't take a shot during her turn. For her legs, we've got the Epic Ranger Treads for 1.5 movement and 10% evasion, so we definitely want those. So you can see that I click onto her Nasher for a second here, but there's nothing really useful as far as what she has equipped. You can put whatever you want on the Nasher. If you have a barrel that gives you increased movement, go ahead and grab that. Looking at her skills, we have Cloak, Sprint level 1, Stalker, Free Cloak, Frag Grenade Mastery, Proximity Mine level 2, Extended Cloak, and Demolitions Expert. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually grab Anticipation and then Sprint level 2. That's going to increase the distance we can sprint, and Anticipation allows us to gain an additional action point on the next turn. So you'll start with 4, and if your potential skill activates, you could have as many as 5 action points to work with. So very useful on these scavenger run missions. But that's all we're going to do for Marcella and her new equipment and gear, so let's get right into the mission here. Like I said, we're doing this as the solo scout scavenger run, and it goes quite quickly. You'll see that we don't have any problems with this mission whatsoever. We got to grab 3 of the cases as always, and our optional objective is to use the reload ability less than 5 times, which isn't going to be a problem whatsoever. So you can see I'm just scouting out, no pun intended since I'm playing as a scout, where the cases are. With that increased movement range, we can definitely grab this one case on our first turn, and then because we have a couple of points left, we're able to really get down and get close to that second case. I know this is going to put us right in the middle of where all of our enemies drop in, but we're not worried about it because enemies that get dropped in by Reavers can't attack on the first turn. The only issue you could have here is if the Grenadier or the Tickers block your path because they have that reflex attack. But that's not going to be an issue here at all. We can go around them. You can see the blast zones moving up as a nemesis approach. So you can see there the Grenadier's reflex ability, the zone that it activates in. I'm just going to skirt around the side of that, run up here, grab the second case, and then I'm going to use the cloak ability. And since I have free cloak, I'm actually going to gain an additional action point, and Stalker gives me increased movement. So there we go. We're going to move as far up as we can here, take cover behind that, and then we're just going to wait and see what happens. The enemies have no idea where I went, so they're going to go to my last known location, or assume that I'm in my last known location. And then we have a bunch of sniper drones drop in, which normally would be an issue, but again, because we're kind of doing the run as fast as we can method, it's not going to be a problem. So here we go. I still have Extended Cloak going, so I'm still invisible. I got 4 action points because the potential skill triggered. So instead of getting the case that's right at the end of the bridge, I'm going to use all of my action points to just run right by these guys up the ladder and get as far away from them as possible, and then sort of take cover here behind this, well, I don't know what it is, the rock boulder thing. and I'll be invisible for the rest of this enemy turn, which is good because I have more enemies drop in. The wretches don't move, which is kind of odd. Normally they scatter a little bit, but whatever the case is, they decided to sit right there. Not a problem at all. We're going to grab this case since my cloak has run out. So hidden, extended, lost. Going to grab this case. That's the third case, so that completes the objective. Now all we got to do is get up here close enough to use our sprint ability. I was just checking to see if I had enough distance to actually use just movement to get to the extraction, but I don't. So we use one action point, get as far as we can, and then have a clear shot directly into the extraction zone. Use our sprint skill, and we are home free. Just like that. So there we go. There's one of our side missions down. You see we got the epic midnight handle with the bloodlust skill for the mulcher. We got 3 cases that we're going to open up. Check out the new gear that we got, and we'll see Marcella does not level up since she just leveled up on the previous mission. Plus, no kills, no damage. It's kind of hard to gain XP that way. So like I said, before we go on to the next mission, we're going to open up these cases that we just unlocked. We got 4 epic cases, and nothing overly useful. The expert mag for the Lancer's okay, and then the precision adapters for the mulcher is all right. But there's nothing there that's really going to be a huge game changer. We will put the new mag on Gabe's Lancer, just because he's running the rare expert mag, so we might as well upgrade that to the epic expert mag. Then we're going to take a look at our other characters. You know, we thought we had some stuff, but for whatever reason it's not popping up as new equipment available, so we're going to run... We're going to run our next mission here. We're going to run Burning Lightning, and we're going to take Gabe with us. We're going to take Michaela with us. Looking at Gabe's skills here, we got Teamwork, Surge, High Powered Shot level 2, Distracting Fire. We've got Revved Up, Chainsaw Rush, Weak Point, Chainsaw Attack Mastery, and Power level 1 and Command. Looking at his Lancer, for the butt, we have the Sleek Stock for a 10% crit chance. We have the mag that we just upgraded to the Epic Expert Mag for 7% accuracy and an ammo. We have the Epic Master Scope for the Expertise skill, which reduces skills by 1 turn, or the cooldown of skills by 1 turn. Then looking at the barrel, we have the Rare Power Barrel for plus 30 damage. His snub has been upgraded to the level 3 Rare Snub, so plus 30 damage and 7% accuracy. He's running default frag grenades. For his helmet, he's running the Onyx Helm with plus 5 evasion and the Optic skill for plus 5 critical hit chance. Then for his upper armor, he's running the Commando Vest for 7% evasion and the Potential skill, so that gives a 40% chance to have a random skill cooldown reduced by 2 turns at the beginning of your turn. Kind of taking a moment here to see if there's anything that we would rather run. And I'm very tempted to use the UIR Regulator, just because with only 2 units in this mission, it's going to be helpful to have the additional grenades, but I also don't want to end up forgetting to take those off and give it to Marcella after the mission. So then for the lower armor, you see we have the Rare Hunter Braces with plus 7 evasion and the skill for Glory, which is every time you execute an enemy, 50% chance to reduce skill cooldowns by 2 turns. So you can see that we've got him really set up to try to refresh his skills as much as we can. Just taking a second here to check other options for lower armor, and I decide that that's about as good as it's going to get. So let's take a look at Michaela. Looking at her skill tree, we have the Precision Shot level 1, Fast Fingers level 2, Ultimate Shot, Run and Gun, Chain Shot level 2. The Run and Gun skill and Chain Shot are going to be very useful. We have Active Reload for 25% damage for 2 turns when you reload on an empty magazine. And then you have the Passive Sharpshooter skill, which is just your starting skill. Also, what's nice is that Michaela should gain enough XP that we're going to be able to gain both Alpha and Omega as new skills when she levels up on this after this mission. Let's take a look at her long shot. She's got the the Epic Padded Stock for plus 50% crit damage, the Rare Sleek Bolt for a 7% crit chance, the Legendary Precision Scope for 15% accuracy and 10% crit chance. Then looking at her barrel, I was making sure that I had the right stuff equipped on this. I was second guessing myself. We have the Rare Wrap Barrel for plus 30 damage, so that she's set up for pretty consistent crit chance, which is nice. Her snub has been upgraded to the level 3 snub pistol. She's running standard frag grenades. Her helmet, is the Onyx Retro Helm with 5% evasion and advanced optics, which is this unit gets a 20% critical hit damage. So we really like increasing her critical hit damage and critical hit chance as much as we can. Just kind of checking here to see if there's anything better that we can use, and we decided to just leave it as is because there's no sense messing with what's been working. Then for her upper armor, she's running the Cadet Plate with 30 health and stabilizer. Shots while in cover get 7% accuracy, so that's nice. Make sure she's going to hit as much as possible. And then going on to her lower armor. Oh, nope. We wanted to make sure there was nothing else that I could swap out for, but the autoloader skill is useful with your sniper, but you kind of lose the potential to get that extra damage from your last shot once you have Alpha and Omega. Looking at her lower armor now, we have the Onyx Greaves for 7% evasion and double down. It's the rare level, so it's a 5% bonus every time you take a shot. Like I said, this is a Wasteland Rescue of Burning Lightning. We need to deploy without any vanguards, which we're going to do, so that's the optional objective. The modifiers, your units have their skill cooldowns increased by 2 turns, so it's going to take our skills longer to recharge. So not ideal, not great by any means, but we're going to make it work, and not going to be too big of an issue here. So again, we're bringing Gabe and we're bringing Michaela. The reason we're bringing these units into the mission is pretty simple. Michaela by herself has the ability to increase her action point pool fairly easily using her skills. Gabe has the ability to further buff that action pool by using Empower and then using Surge. So you can really pour on the hurt very easily with Michaela as a sniper, or with any sniper really if you have them set up with the right skills. But having a support unit with your sniper in a situation like this works out really well. So taking a look here, you can see we're going to have the high ground for both of these torture pods on the left and the right. And we're going to end up going to the right torture pod first. You can definitely do the left side. You know, I didn't really have a preference on this. Either way, we're going to have high ground, and we have to take out these enemies first. So we're going to come up here, get Michaela in cover so we can take advantage of those stabilizer skill to get the extra accuracy bonus. And we're going to use our chain shot skill on an 85% hit. I ended up getting a crit, so that enemy went down already. And then you can see we've got one wretch that we can see, and I want to make sure that we're maximizing our hit potential, so we're going to take and use Gabe, and we try to get the grenade far enough up there to do some more damage, but as you can see I can't quite hit any of the wretches. So what I'm trying to do is find a corner just like that to bounce my grenade and get a little extra distance. And as you can see, if you use the physics of the game to your advantage, you can really extend the distance that your grenade travels. For some reason, it missed that downed drone, but whatever, not a big deal. We still took a wretch off the board, which is great. And then we're going to overwatch up here. So we get 2 enemies off the board on our first turn. Ideally, I would have liked to have wiped out all of these enemies, but hey, not a big deal. We're far enough back, the wretches can't get to us, and they've moved up close enough now where Gabe is really going to could do some work. Instead, what we'll do is, just to save time and action points, we're going to use Michaela's grenade to take these 2 wretches off the board in 1 turn. And that'll leave us 1 wretch that we have left to deal with before we head over to the first torture pod. So there we go. That grenade did take out both of those wretches. We're going to reload with Michaela to get the active reload skill going for the plus 25% damage. We have a 100% hit chance on that wretch, so boom, he's gone. And the battlefield's clear. We got that nice little notification that says, yep, no more enemies to deal with, and we're good to move up. So like I said, we're going to come over here to the right. You can see there's an epic loot case there in that little building. We're going to make sure that we grab that. And all I'm doing right now is just trying to figure out which path is going to give me the best line of sight on my enemies. And like I said, I end up going to the right, but you definitely could use the left side. The other thing you want to be careful of is that normally the enemies are all clustered around these torture pods, but every once in a while you'll have one that's just sort of off on his own, and he's a lot closer than you realize. So that's why I sort of was playing it safe and I didn't advance too far up. But here we go. We're going to push Gabe up here. He gets that case for us, and we're going to use Michaela's all 3 of her skill points just to move her up just as far as we can. Again, we're trying to use the cover slide technique to extend our movement a little bit. And you could see when I was first moving, I couldn't get into cover on this box, but because of that cover slide and breaking up my movements into 2 moves instead of 1, I got the little bit of extra distance to get a little closer to the objective. So here we go, we're down to 12 turns left. When it comes to rescue missions, and I've said this in a previous video, I like to think of it as 5, 5, and 5. So you have 15 turns to empty both of the torture pods. My first 5 turns are used to clear out the initial enemies, get to the torture pod, and open the first one. My second set of 5 is used to clear out the reinforcements and get to the second pod. Or I should say, I'm sorry, my second set of 5 turns is used to clear out the reinforcements and move from one area to the other. And then my third 5? I guess that makes sense. My last 5 moves are used to clean up the enemies that are guarding the last torture pod and get that open. So that's kind of how that's what I use as a metric to make sure that I'm on course to complete these missions without running out of time. And you can see here, I can see that I've got enemies down bottom, and what I'm trying to do is figure out what the best way to use my skills and my abilities are to take these enemies out, because they're right underneath that ladder. So what I was thinking was I was going to use Gabe's saw and go down there and kill one with a one-shot hit, but instead I changed my mind. I used Surge on Michaela, so that's going to refresh all of her skills, including her grenades. Then I'm going to use Teamwork on Michaela, so Teamwork, every time an enemy or an ally kills an enemy that has a Teamwork skill, both the ally and the caster of the skill Teamwork get an action point. And then I'm going to empower Michaela so she has the best chance to get as close as she can to use that grenade and take a couple of these guys off the board. So there we go. We moved up here, and then we're going to use our grenade. We're going to drop it right in front of these 2 enemies, just like that. Take them both down with one grenade, and there we go. Teamwork gave Gabe 1 action point, so I'm going to scoot him up a little bit further. Or actually gave him 2 action points because we killed 2 enemies. And now I'm going to overwatch those stairs just in case this last sniper drone decides to try to come up. He doesn't come up the stairs, so we're all set there. Now I am going to use Gabe's chainsaw to go down and take this guy off the map completely. And that should be the last enemy that's guarding this torture pod. So he's gone just like that. And because I have Chainsaw Rush, I got an additional action point, which should get me close enough to open that pod, but it doesn't. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take cover by this crashed, I think it's a King Raven. I don't know, it could be the UIR's variant, and I forget what those are called. But anyway, by the big helicopter that's down, we're going to take cover there. So I'm trying to use Michaela to extend her movement as much as we can to see if we can open that pod. We can't, so we're just going to move her up as much as we can to this point. And that's about it for this turn. There's nothing else to really do, and we're just going to wait until the next turn to open up that pod. So, like I had said just a few minutes ago, I like using my first 5 turns, and that's kind of the metric, is that 5 turns to open the first pod. You can see we're on turn number 10, so we are perfectly on course for where we need to be, or on pace, I should say. We get this pod open, that brings an extra gun into the fight, which should speed things up even more. Probably more importantly is it brings an extra grenade into the fight, which is definitely going to be useful. And we ended up rescuing a Vanguard, so that's pretty decent. I like the Vanguard because of his retro charge ability and his ability, just like the support class, to take enemies off the board in one shot. And now that we've rescued our trapped friend, we're going to move everybody up, stack them up on this helicopter, and wait to see where the reinforcements drop in. So you can see they dropped in more to the west side of the map based off of its original orientation, kind of over by that second pod. We had wretches come in, and we had a boomer come in. Now normally I don't see boomers as reinforcements in these rescue missions, but it's not too big of a deal. It can be a big problem. I really don't like boomers. Boomers and Theron guards are my 2 least favorite enemies to fight in this game, especially on Insane, because boomers are extremely bullet spongy, and their boom shot is very devastating even at fairly long ranges. So you do have to be kind of careful about how you approach this, but I'm going to show you the trick that I use. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to use this ladder as almost like a choke point. We want to have all of the wretches come down that ladder and take them out one at a time. then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of circle around and try to get Michaela in a good position to do a lot of damage in one turn with that on that boomer. So you can see I shot at the one wretch that we could see at the top of the stairs. Here come the rest of them, 1, 2, 3, all down the ladder, which is great. Kind of puts them in a kill zone now where we have good angles on them. Michaela's going to come up top here. Then we're going to use our newly acquired Vanguard, Daniel Stinger Labonnet. That's quite a French name. To take them out. So boom, 1 grenade, 3 kills. We'll take that. Now up this ramp, we're going to kind of backtrack a little bit towards where we started the mission, and the reason we're doing that is because we don't exactly know where that boomer is in the fog of war, and we don't want to get too close where we accidentally reveal him. I thought for sure on this move we were going to find him. You can see I looked up here to see if the boomer showed up, but he didn't. Not only that, he didn't show up on the enemy turn either. So I thought, okay, well maybe we can just avoid the boomer completely, and we would just stay down to the southern side of the map, more towards where we started. But that plan's not going to work either because we're going to have the boomer kind of show up on this next turn. You can see we're doing okay time-wise. We have 7 turns left to rescue that last prisoner. And like I said, as long as we can get through the reinforcements with 5 turns left, we're doing just fine time-wise. So the only reinforcements that are left right now is that boomer. And we still have a couple of turns to take care of him. So not a problem. And what I'm trying to do here is get the best angles possible, and I thought I'd be able to maybe get a few shots on some enemies down bottom. Wasn't happening, so my plan was to move around to the south side here and set up on that landing and start doing some sniper work, but the boomer decided to show his face. So instead, that had to change my plans a little bit, and we're going to use Michaela to take this boomer off the map. Thankfully, we're all far enough away that the boomer doesn't have a shot on anybody. It was pretty close with that rescued unit. I thought he might have a shot, but he doesn't. So I got a 98% hit chance right there. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to first move Michaela up just a little bit, only 1 AP's worth of movement to get the run and gun skill. So then we're going to shoot, and it hits. We wanted that 50% damage for run and gun. We're going to use chain shot, and when that hits, it's going to give me an additional 2 action points. Then we're going to shoot again. And when I shoot this time, did a little bit more damage, but we're out of ammo, so now we're going to reload, and by reloading, we're actually going to activate the active reload damage boost, so that's an additional 25% damage. So now we're rocking 75% damage plus the double down skill. I've shot 3 times, so that's 15, so I'm actually doing 190% damage right now, and my hit chance is up to 100% with its 37% crit chance. So we used Empower to give Michaela an additional action point from Gabe, and that was enough to take the boomer off the map completely, and he dropped his boom shot, so we're going to run our Vanguard up here to pick up that boom shot, and he's going to be able to use that to really help clear out a lot of the enemies that are guarding this last torture pod. So instead of going down to the south side, we're actually going to attack this torture pod from the east side of the torture pod. And you can see we have 5 turns left. The reinforcements are off the board completely, so no worries there. We are doing exactly what we're supposed to do. You can see I'm just checking the skills because I never checked the skills on this rescued unit. He's got Badass, Survival Instinct, Enhanced Regeneration, and then for weapon passive skills, we've got Hair Trigger and Swift, and then armor passive skills, Blast Zone, Grenadier, and Double Down. So he's actually set up with a pretty good skill set. We like that. I'm having a hard time picking up that boom shot because I was already standing on top of it and it never picked up. So we're going to move up our Vanguard here and send him over to get that loot case, or whatever it is, the gear case. And then we're going to move Michaela and Gabe up to start picking off these enemies down bottom. Basically, with this map, you want to use the double cover as much as you can. By being on one of these pillars here, you have full cover rather than half cover. Whereas if you go all the way up to the fence here, you're going to have half cover. So the advantage is if you have full cover on the pillar, you have a much more limited range of fire. But you have full cover, so you take less damage and it's harder to hit you. However, the half cover gives you better angles and makes it easier to hit your opponents. So you've got to kind of weigh whether you're feeling risky or not. You can see here I'm going to go to the half cover with Michaela because based on where the enemies are sitting, I've got a really good angle. So I could do a lot of good work here. Same thing with Gabe. We're going to put him in half cover, but we're going to set him back a little bit further just because I don't want to have the enemies have a clean shot at Gabe if I decided to overwatch. But his grenade was ready, so we're going to throw the grenade down here, try to knock him out of cover a little bit, and hit all 3 of the enemies at once. Thankfully, those torture pods are actually a little bit of a saving grace because you can't hurt your allies in the torture pods, if that makes sense. They're getting tortured, but they can't be hurt by your attack. So that grenade didn't do any damage to the ally, which is excellent. Now we're going to use the newly acquired boom shot that our Vanguard has and kind of lob a couple of shots up and over. And boom, there goes one of the enemies, and we got 2 turns left. And I want to make sure that we get that supply case, and I really don't want to waste all of my boom shot ammo. So instead of using the second shot to take that other sniper off the board, we're just going to use standard weaponry. The sniper decides to pin Michaela, which that's fine. Pinning an enemy or pinning an ally isn't a huge problem because as long as you don't move that ally, it doesn't really do anything. Plus, it also makes sure that the sniper can no longer take shots at anybody. So yeah, it takes one of your units off the board, but it also takes a sniper off the board in a way. So we're okay with that. So anyway, since I knew the sniper wasn't going to do anything, I ran all the way down there with Gabe and used the chainsaw to take him down, grab that last case. Then Michaela, instead of running her down to the torture pod, I'm actually going to set her up on some high ground, and I'm setting up these units here to engage the reinforcements when they get dropped in. Now, when you open up your second torture pod, the reinforcements from the enemy are almost always dropped in somewhat close to the not the rendezvous, the extraction point. So you can see I'm sort of preempting where I put my units just to give myself the best chance to successfully engage the enemy reinforcements. We had 2 turns left to get to this pod. Boom, it's opened, and that means the kill timer is now off the board. And that kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off, and now we are back up to having a full squad of 4 units. Now all we have to do is return to the vehicle at the extraction point, and we're going to move our units up to sort of join. We're going to move Gabe and the new unit up to join Michaela and our other rescued unit. And that's about all there is to say in this turn. You can see I'm trying to figure out what would be the most effective use of what little action point I have left. But that's about all there is to say about this, actually. We're going to move our units up and try to get a little bit closer to where the enemies are. Like I said, the enemy reinforcements always come in relatively close, not directly on top of, but relatively close to that extraction point. So you can see I'm putting Michaela in cover, and I've got my rescued Vanguard who has the boom shot moving up. Unfortunately, we got 2 Theron guards that come in, and I really hate Theron guards. I think I hate them more than I hate boomers. We got a flight of 4 wretches and 2 Theron guards, and then we have an additional flight of 4 wretches, so we have a total of 8 wretches and 2 Theron guards to take care of between us and our exit, which could be problematic, but with this method, it really won't be. So thankfully, Michaela was already, I'm sorry, not Michaela, my Vanguard was already up far enough to go to work on these enemies. He's got his boom shot, so while the boom shot is great, it does kind of limit your ability. You can't throw grenades when you have a boom shot or anything like that, so it really limits what you can actually do. But we're going to move Michaela up. She's got good line of sight on a lot of these enemies. We've got run and gun active because I just moved up to take cover. So there we go. There's 1 wretch off the board. That leaves 7 wretches and 2 Theron guards. I'm going to use ultimate shot on this wretch because I had a really high hit percentage, and ultimate shot refills all 3 of my action points. And now I'm going to use fast fingers. 92% hit chance was good enough for me to take that shot. I gained an additional action point plus reloaded on an empty mag, so I got the active reload skill for an additional 25% damage. So with run and gun and then active reload and the double down skill, again, I'm now doing an additional 90% damage on top of my standard damage, which is really nice, actually. So now what we're doing is I'm just trying to figure out what my best move is. Michaela still has 3 shots on a full clip, but I know there's 2 Theron guards back there that I'm going to have to deal with. So I'm trying to figure out if it would be wiser for me to save Michaela's action pool to take care of the Theron guards, or if I should be using her to take care of these wretches. We're going to use our rescued scout. We're moving her up and making her invis so she's not a target. And then Gabe's going to come up and join her after he empowers Michaela, because we want to give her as many action points as we can. And the reason we're doing that is because we still do have quite a few enemies on the board, and Michaela is our best long-distance worker, I guess, or our best long-distance unit being a sniper. So you can see I'm just trying really hard to figure out where can I put Michaela that's going to maximize her her damage potential, because I wanted to use her frag grenade. So here we go. We could take out 3 wretches with 1 frag and 1 action point, which is much better than we could have done with the long shot. So there, that's done. And now I have 1 shot or 1 action point left to get her into cover. I'm going to move my Vanguard up and then make use of his boom shot to actually really do some damage on these Theron guards. So you can see right there, boom shot is going to take out the Theron guard and one of the remaining wretches. It also gave the shell shocked ability to the other Theron guard, which is wonderful. I'm going to use Surge on from Gabe on Michaela to refresh her skills, and then I'm going to use Teamwork on Michaela again, because again, every time Michaela gets a kill now, Gabe gets an action point as well. So we're going to come up here. All of my skills are now refreshed, so I'm going to use Chain Shot, and Chain Shot will give me 2 additional action points if I hit, or Ultimate Shot will refill all 3 of my action points. But it's only an 80% hit chance, which sounds good, but on Insane, it's not a guarantee. So we used Ultimate Shot, and it did end up hitting, so there was 3 more action points for Michaela. I'm going to move her up. Gabe actually gained an action point as well because of that Teamwork skill. And then we're going to go to work on this Theron. Boom, there's 1 hit. We have a 100% hit chance. So let's use our Chain Shot skill. That takes the Theron off the board. All of our enemies are gone. Battlefield is clear. Now all I have to do is move up as far as I can to get to that extraction. You can see Michaela and Gabe both gain 2 points from the Teamwork skill. Or 2 action points, I mean, from the Teamwork skill. So we're going to move them up as far as we can, which isn't too far, but still, it's progress. So there we go. Still no enemy reinforcements. We're going to move everybody up, like I said, just as far as we can towards that extraction point. We're going to use the Scout Sprint ability, because why not? We want to get her out of here. So that's going to put her a lot closer to that extraction than just using her regular movement skill. Michaela's actually going to make it into the ring this time, and then Daniel Stinger Labonnet will not make it in, but he gets very close. So we're going to try to use that cover slide skill, or cover slide trick, to get close enough to actually get in. And you can see still not quite close enough, but his indicator ring is touching the extraction ring, so I think that actually counts. So unfortunately this time we did have some enemies drop in as reinforcements. We had a Theron, we have a couple of rifle drones, and a wretch, but not a big deal because we're going to get everybody into the extraction zone on this turn. Gabe is still pretty far out, but he's able to just eke in enough distance to make it into the ring. And you can see we're going to move our scout in, and we should be good to go. So just like that, mission complete. Soldiers rescued, everybody's safe and accounted for. That's 2 of our 3 side missions knocked out. We're going to check the cases that we scavenged from the field, as well as our rewards. You can see we got the legendary precision handle with 18% accuracy and -1 ammo, which is pretty nice, actually. That's a good get for us. We like that those legendary mods for our equipment. So we only had Michaela did level up, and our 2 rescued units leveled up, but Gabe did not. However, opening the cases up that we got, we have 4 epic cases to look at. So we'll open these guys up, see what we got for rewards. And you can see nothing really great. I mean, I'll definitely use the rigid patrol bolt on the sniper, but other than that, there's nothing that's really going to be a big game changer. So we're going to come over here, we're going to look, we have a control mission or sabotage, so We're going to run Raging Strike because we really don't like control missions on the insane difficulty. We're going to be bringing Sid. We'll take a look at what Sid's running right now. Looking at his skill tree, he has the Hemorrhage skill, which is great. Critical hits on enemies receive the bleed status effect, dealing 200 damage for the next 3 turns. Expertise, that within range of the equipped weapon, this unit gets 25% critical hit chance. We got Rage Shot level 1, Recharging Bayonet, Free Bayonet, and Rage Bayonet. Executioner, which is enemies with less than 50% health remaining get plus 30 damage. Intimidate level 1, and Regeneration. Going and taking a look at his Retro Lancer, we have the Sleek Stock for a 10% crit chance. The Epic Sleek Stock for 10% crit chance, I should say. And then looking at the magazine, we have the Epic Precision Mag for plus 13 accuracy bonus and minus 1 ammo, which is an okay trade-off. We have the Legendary Digital Scope for 150% crit damage, which is why we want to focus on him getting as many crit hits as possible. And then for his barrel, he has the Rare Power Barrel for plus 30 damage. His snub pistol has been upgraded to the common snub, and we only have 2 of the rare snubs, which are the level 3 snubs, so he's going to stick with that. He's running default frag grenades. His helmet, he's running the Onyx Helm with the Optics skill, so this unit gets 7% critical hit chance. He's currently running Cadet Chestplate with stabilizers and plus 20 health. So instead, we're looking at seeing if there's anything else we can swap out. I'm really considering the UIR regulator for him, but same thing I said about Gabe. I don't want to end up in a situation where on the next set of missions I forget to turn that back over to Marcella. For his legs, his lower armor, he's running the UIR holsters with 15 health and the utility belt skill. And same thing, I'm just checking to see if there's anything else that I'd rather run that would be more conducive to his playstyle. I figure, well, if you're running UIR holsters, you might as well run the upgraded UIR holsters. So give him the rare holsters that cool down his grenade abilities by 2. And then we are going to end up going back and changing his regulator to the Epic Grenadier UIR regulator. And we're going to swap this out with my sniper. So now we have Sid, who's kitted up for grenade usage as well. Unfortunately, we don't have a more powerful grenade to give him, but that's okay. So Sid's going to be our heavy grenade user. We are going to take a sniper with us. We're taking Diana Buddy Pickney. And looking at her skills, you know, she's got the First Blood level 3 right there, and I'm kind of debating if I want to take somebody else. But I've used her in the past. She's worked out well. So looking at her skill tree, she has the Spree skill, which when this unit kills an enemy with a critical hit, there's a 25% chance this unit will get 2 actions, and the effect may trigger once per turn. She also has Epiphany, which is very nice. I like the Epiphany skill. She has Lucky Streak, First Blood level 3, Weak Spot, Precision Shot level 1. I mean, it's not my normal, and Sharpshooter, I'm sorry. It's not my normal setup for a sniper skill, but it works okay, and I'm not wasting a respec token on her, so. We've got the rare padded stock for 40% damage, the rare sleek bolt for a plus 7% crit chance. Looking at her scope, she's got the holographic scope for the focus skill, which 25% critical hit chance. The effect ends the first time this unit gets a critical hit. She's running the light barrel with Swift, and that's okay. We're going to stick with it for now, but I don't really like the Swift skill. She has the level 2 common snub, so that's the upgraded level 2 snub. Standard frag grenade, she's got the Onyx Helm for a 7% critical hit chance. She's got the Ranger Kit for the Blitz skill and 7% evasion. It's only a rare Ranger Kit, and we're going to check and see if we want something else. Stabilizers is always nice, so we're going to go with that for the chest plate. And then for her lowers, she's got the rare Trooper Boots, and self-repair doesn't really make much of a difference on Insane, because usually if you get hit, you die. So we're going to swap that out, and then we're moving on to our third unit. We're going to bring Alejandro Sunshine Nail. The reason we're bringing him is because he has the Surge and the Empower skill. We don't like his stim grenades though, so we're going to swap those over for frag grenades. And then we're going to take a look at his weapon. He's got the Sleek Stock for 5% critical hit chance. That's fine, but we're going to give him the rare Sleek Stock, so it's up to 7. Expert Mag for 3% accuracy, also okay, but we'll give you the rare Expert Mag for 5% accuracy and 1 ammo. He's got the Common Precision Scope for 5% accuracy, which is actually about the best thing he can have right now, and then he's got the Common Power Barrel for plus 15 damage, which is just fine. His snub has been upgraded to the level 2 snub. He's running the Common Trooper Helm with the Hardened skill for plus 5 maximum health, but, you know, that's not really useful, so instead we're going to give him a common Onyx Helm. With this unit, gets 3% critical hit chance. Looking at his uppers, he's running the Commando Vest with a potential skill and 5% evasion, 30% chance to have a random skill reduced by 2 turns, random skills cooldown reduced by 2 turns, and he was running the common UIR holsters for the utility belt skill, which actually isn't too bad. I'm just checking here to see if there's anything better that he could run, and I think we're going to leave him just with those that holster. So then we're going to run our last unit as, I think I end up taking Mike Hothead Alt. Nope, we deal with Damiano. So looking at his skills, we got Demolition Expert, Extended Cloak, Proximity Mine level 2, Stalker, Sprint level 1, Cloak. It's a pretty good setup for how I normally set up my scouts. So we're going to run with that. We're looking at his Nasher. We got the Master Grip for 3% accuracy. Well, that's not bad, but if we're going to run a Master Grip, let's give him a good Master Grip for 7% accuracy. Common Extended Handle with +1 ammo. Well, again, we have a Legendary Handle for +18% accuracy and -1 ammo, so yeah, sure, we can run that. Then we're going to look at our Scope. He's got the Precision Sights for 3% accuracy, and if he's going to run that, then we might as well give him... Well, I guess we leave it at that. I thought I upgraded that to the rare one, but his Snub is level 2. He's running common, the common frag grenades, or the standard frag grenades. Looking at his helmet here, he's got the Onyx Helm for advanced optics, but we're going to actually switch him over for UIR Regulator from Who. The reason we do this is because if he's already got some grenade skills and some proximity mine skills, then let's lean in heavy to the grenade usage. So what I'm doing is I'm checking to see if I have any regulators that I can give him, and I realize that I'm down into the stuff that's being used by other units, but I may be able to steal a UIR regulator off someone else. So right there, we're going to switch off of either Grady or Roberta. We take it from Grady. And then for the lowers, same thing. We're looking for that utility belt skill. So we're going to scroll all the way down here to find UIR holsters. We have a couple of extras. So there we go. So now we have another unit, a scout unit, who is set up to run lots of grenades. Damiano and Sid are both going to be grenade heavy users. And like I said, I didn't show Alejandro's full skill tree, but he does have Empower and he has Surge, which are the two big ones that we want to make sure that we're using. Alright, so the start of this mission is kind of tricky. Our optional objective is units take no damage during your turn, which means we don't hurt ourselves, you don't use any skills that damage you, or you don't activate no enemy overwatch. Like I said, the start of this mission is a little bit tricky because there is not a lot of really good cover on this map at this point, and you can see that there's a lot of half cover. Problem is there are Theron guards with their torque bows, and half cover does not cut it against torque bows. So we've got, you can see the Theron guard right there. I'm going to overwatch with the sniper, hoping to interrupt him if he comes around that corner. We're going to do the same thing over here with Alejandro. Or was that Sid? That was Sid. And here we go. The Theron is going to coordinate some attacks. Here come the wretches down the line here. One of them walked right into the Overwatch cone, and then one walked into Sid's Overwatch cone, so that was effective. And then here we go. Theron guard's coming up, already shooting at us, and he's going to hit Alejandro. Boom. And Alejandro's having a bad day right off the start. 85 health left. Right from the, I'm sorry, 65 health left right from the get-go, which just not good. So anyway, we're going to kind of look and see what we can do here. We want to get these wretches away from him because at this point, any kind of damage is going to be enough to kill him. So here we go. Diana, the sniper, is going to work. She took one wretch off the board. We got Lucky Streak. Critical hit gave me 2 additional action points. I really want to take that Theron off the board, so that's what we're going to do. Run over here with Nail and use the Saw to take him off the board completely. So, good news, no more Theron guard to deal with. Bad news, Nail's sort of out in the open here without any cover. So that means that we just got to be, a little more offense oriented and build him in a safety buffer by pushing back as many enemies as we can. So, like I said, Nail is in the wide open here. That's not great. But we're going to use our snub to take out well, we're going to try to take out this wretch from a distance. 41% was enough to hit. And what's going to happen next is we're going to grab some of these cases, because there's 2 cases right next to each other in the first part of this map, which is awesome. Diana's going to grab both of them. And right now, there's no enemies on the map. Like, you can't see any enemies. So that's a fairly good indicator that you're going to be safe. But it doesn't guarantee it. And again, with Nail being down to 65 health and being out in the open, you know, we really wanted to make sure there was nothing that could go after him. So Nail should have picked up, I think he picked up the torque bow that Theron guard dropped. And that's going to let him do some good work from long range without having to worry about being exposed to enemy fire. We still have, I think, 3 or 4 disciples up here that we need to take care of, but they're pretty far back. Like, they're surprisingly far back, either into the objective ring or behind the objective ring. So they're usually a little more forward and aggressive than this. So I was a little caught off guard that, you know, I hadn't run into them yet. But no problem. Basically, we're going to slow play it. We've uncovered one of them. Hopefully that means that all 4 of them are going to try to advance on us. All of my units are in okay cover. And here they go. Here they come, I should say. So 1, 2, it looks like 3, 4. Yeah, there's 4 of the disciples. One of them's overwatching Sid. The rest of them are overwatching, but they're not actually going to be able to hit us. Here we go. Now Nail picks up that torque bow from the dead Theron. I'm trying to see what my best chance of hitting someone is here, and I realize that I don't want to waste a torque bow shot on only a 70% hit. So instead, I use a low power shot, which gives you a much better hit chance because you can actually see where the blast zone is. And what that did is it knocked that disciple out of Overwatch, meaning that Sid could now move freely without needing to worry about getting hit by the Overwatch shot. And what we're going to do is we're going to use Diana's frag grenade, and unbelievably, it's still not quite enough to take this disciple off the board, but it's going to be very close. So he's down to 105 health. And then we're going to use Sid to hopefully clean him up. It's only a 38% hit chance, which of course it missed. And I'm trying to weigh the odds of what do I do here to try to increase my hit chance. Using the snub brings it up to a 47% hit, which is definitely better than 38, but only by 9%. So we're going to use it, and it actually hit. So that was a good choice. Using that snub sometimes definitely increases your hit percentage, and sometimes even a little bit of an increase is worth it. So we move Diana around so she can get a clear shot on an enemy, and we used First Blood, but of course the shot missed with 30% hit. I'm sorry, with 70% hit chance. But you know, like I said, that happens sometimes. We're on insane difficulty. So what we're going to do next, we're going to move up Damiano, and we're going to try to go to work using some not frag grenades, the proximity mines. Nice thing about these proximity mines is that they do kind of just sit there. So if you throw one and you kind of forget about it, well, guess what? The enemy can still run into it. So we're going to run up here. We have that cloak ability. We're going to cloak. And like I said, we're moving up, and we're moving up in a very aggressive fashion with him. I'm trying to set him up so on the next turn he'll be able to he'll be able to use his explosives and then get to cover without getting hit. So unfortunately, Sid takes a hit right there, but he was in full cover, so we got a 40% damage reduction. This disciple took a shot at Diana, and it missed. And then we had another disciple take another shot at Sid, and it missed. So you could see where the disciples can be very, very aggressive, and it's not always predictable. With the rifle drones, if those were regular rifle drones instead of disciples, I would have assumed that they would have just, gone into Overwatch instead of shooting. But like I said, the disciples tend to be a lot more aggressive, so it very easily could have resulted in this mission being over for me. but thankfully it didn't. And we were able to keep going because Sid was able to tank the hit, and then basically the cover he was in protected him. So you could see that I, just a second ago, I threw a frag grenade with Damiano, or I'm sorry, a proximity mine, to go between the downed disciple and one of the disciples I was overwatching. I used the remaining 2 shots from Nail's torque bow to take that disciple off the board completely, which seems excessive, but we're trying to thin the ranks as much as we can here. So here we go. We're going to toss this frag grenade. We're using the old frag grenade proximity mine trick where you get 2 explosions in 1 turn, and it still wasn't enough to take that disciple off the board. He's down to 76 health, but still, I kind of thought it would be enough. But it wasn't, so we go back to work. We tried using the Retro Lancer. The Retro Lancer missed, so we're going to switch over to the Snub. And the Snub missed both times, which again, with a 30-odd% hit chance, you kind of think that that would be the case. Now, I'm kind of in a predicament because I got to get Damiano to cover, but there's not really a lot of good cover around here. So we're going to tuck him into this half cover right here. Diana still has 3 action points, but her hit chance is not great. So I'm going to use the Precision Shot. Precision Shot gives you a 30% accuracy and 30% crit chance. And thankfully this one, that shot hit, and it actually took the enemy off the board. So we have one action point left, and we don't have much else to do but shoot. So we take a shot at that last disciple, and unfortunately we miss. Alejandro Nail has 1 action point left, but not really worth doing anything. So we just sit him there. We end the turn. The disciple moves over and tries to take a shot at our scout Damiano, but he misses. So we're still in good shape. Again, like I said, this map is relatively tricky because there's not a lot of good cover, and these enemies hit really hard. So you could see he was overwatching Damiano. I used Sid's disrupting shot, or interrupting shot, I can't remember what it's called, to basically get rid of the overwatch cone and allow Damiano to move freely. And now we're just trying to figure out what our next move is. Sid has 1 action point left, so we're going to throw a grenade. At this point, I could have retro-charged that disciple just to... Oh, no, I couldn't. If I didn't want to take any damage, one of the modifiers on this map was that the disciple's Poison Cloud actually does damage to your unit, so I can't do that. So we got to use conventional means and stay away from the disciples when they die. And so we're going to use our standard weapons. Damiano did shoot him with the shotgun, but it wasn't enough to put him down. However, Diana was there with the long shot to clean up and finish up that enemy. We got the notification that all enemies were off the board, so we're clear to advance to the gate and kind of make it to the halfway point of this mission. Once that gate is open, we will get a checkpoint, and that will allow us to have a safe spot that if we end up dying in the second half of the map, we're going to be able to restart without going all the way back to the beginning. And I will admit the second half of this map is a little bit easier. You get better cover, and the angles and geometry is a little bit better, so you're able to advance a little bit more safely. But it's by no means easy. So here we go. We are just moving all of our units up. I always like to stack my units up as close to the front of or not to the front of, but as close to the gate as I can before I open it, just so I can get everybody through the gate and not get separated out too much. So that's what we're going to do. You can see that I got 2 units stacked up on the wall itself, and then we're going to use our scout to come up here, open up this panel, and that's going to open the gate for us, and we should be ready to advance through into the second half of the map. Alright, so you can see that's our goal right there. We've got to get this, blow up that emulsion tank. We've got a pretty good charge of enemies sitting around it. We've got some disciples, we've got some snipers, some tickers. So, and I think we got a few regular rifle drones, a little hodgepodge of everything going on. The one nice thing that isn't present is I don't believe that on the second half of the map there's anything like Theron or Cantus or anything like that. So a lot more of what you would, I guess, call your standard enemies rather than the more powerful or specialized units. So we're going to move up here with our sniper, and you can see our hit chances they're just really bad. Even on just the tickers, you know, we only got a 20% hit chance right there. So we're going to try and shoot, but I didn't have any expectation of hitting. The big point was to try to move those tickers up a little bit closer so we'll have a better hit chance on the next turn. You can see I'm going to put Sid in cover on the left side since all of our enemies are kind of like northwest of where we are right now. Again, when I say northwest, that's the orientation being the top of the map, or the top of the screen is north, so the left side would be west, so it would be the northwest or the top left of that, from that gate is where our enemies are. So keeping your allied units in cover on the left side of that door is going to give you the best possible cover. So we had the enemies move up, not a lot of movement, but just enough to give us a little bit better chance. You can see we hit the ticker, or we missed the ticker there, even with 70% hit chance, and now it's like, oh, okay, you're kind of close, and if I miss again, we're going to end up blowing ourselves up here. So we're going to use a grenade, which, again, this seems like really bad overkill, but we used a grenade to take that ticker off the board. It did trigger the command skill, so everyone got to heal a little bit if they were damaged, mostly Sid and Nail, but every little bit helps, keeps us healthy, or a little more healthy. And we're going to move Nail up to the east side, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to split up our units here and try to split the enemy's focus a little bit. We want the tickers and some of these enemies to come down around this cover like they're doing, but we're going to send, I believe we send Sid, was it Sid? I think I actually end up sending Sid, Damiano, and Alejandro all up to the right there to that sort of little building. The reason I do that is these disciples, they end up advancing to the right, and they head towards that little building. So we're going to use the building and the geometry of the building to give us the best chance possible to use grenades and proximity mines to slow them down and kind of chip away at their health a little bit. Again, we can't use the saw or the retro charge to take these guys off the map, because one of the modifiers of this map, or of this mission, is that the poison cloud actually deals damage to our units. So we can't be in the poison cloud when we kill these enemies. Diana's going to continue to go to work using her long shot. You can see we took one of the tickers off the board, and we did really good damage. We got a crit hit on that drone that was in the trench, I guess. And I'm going to use Sid. We tried to clean it up with the snub. Doesn't hit. Try again. Still doesn't hit. So we'll try a third time, and that time it hits and downs him. So that's good. You can see on the top left of the screen there we have enemies remaining 8, but it's actually 7 since one of the drones is in the DBNO status, and DBNO means down but not out. So they're not dead, but they're out of commission. So we're going to advance Damiano up here. We really want to have his explosives, both frags and proximity mines, available to help thin out this herd of disciples, since we don't really know at this point where they're going to go. I don't want to put, I don't want to invest anything as far as setting proximity mines, because they may go around the back side of this building, they may come around the front side, or they may try to go through the middle. So you can see I'm just taking kind of a head count of who's where as far as the enemy units, trying to figure out what my best use of skills and my best allocation of grenades is going to be. And it's the enemies don't exactly do what I thought they were going to do. That ticker fell back and the sniper moved up, so sort of opposite of what I was anticipating. And now we can see what the plan is for these disciples. They're kind of heading into the building itself, which is good because that gives me a narrow choke point to use grenades and proximity mines on. And you can see right there where that where that sniper was, gave Diana a perfect angle, so a crit hit drops another standard sniper to the down but not out status. So yes, we have 8 enemies on the board, but only 6 are actually active, and 4 of them are gathered up here coming after these 2 units. So here we go. We're going to put a proximity mine in the doorway, and what I'm trying to do is do that double proximity mine frag grenade trick to get as much damage on this unit as I can. And I think I mess up this throw, because I'm trying to hit it, get it out far enough to do damage to the to both units, and nope, I didn't mess up that throw. Thankfully, this time the frag grenade and the proximity mine was enough to take the disciple off the board, so that means that we're down to 3 disciples who are advancing on our units. And one of them was close enough to be in the poison cloud from the dead disciple, so we got the enraged status, which isn't ideal, but we're still okay. The enraged status only lasts for 2 turns, and we're going to end up falling back to prevent them from having a clean shot on us. So I'm going to use my Alejandro's surge skill on Damiano, and that's going to give him his proximity mine and his frag grenade back, and then I'm going to use Empower, so he has 2 skill points instead of 1 to use this turn. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set another proximity mine right in that door again, anticipating that the enraged disciple is going to actually come through the door. But this is what I messed up. You could see when I threw the proximity mine, it stuck to the wall instead of going and landing where I wanted it to, so that's on me. It's just, I wasn't paying attention to the internal geometry of that building. You can see still that flashing light right on the wall, just like a constant reminder that I screwed up. So thankfully it doesn't end up ruining, or I guess it doesn't have any terrible repercussions, but you just want to make sure that you're paying attention, especially when you're looking inside of a building like that, of where the internal geometry is, because it can really mess up your shots, whether you're using a standard weapon, you know, boom shot, or you throwing a frag. It definitely can mess up your plans. So at this point, again, we're falling back a little bit. I want to sort of regroup my units and have the enemies continue to advance towards me. You see the disciples here. They're going to start heading through the building. I've got that one rifle drone who's backed by the emulsion tank. I guess they told him he had to sit tight. He's the last line of defense. Thankfully, that enraged disciple, he didn't hit Damiano with his shot. But we got three disciples now who are overwatching through that building. I'm falling Sid back to reinforce the 2 guys who are protecting the building, and then we have Diana, who's still kind of on her own. We're going to use her range shot to do as much work as we can, but from this distance, it's not very much. So we're going to take a look at some of these other guys, see what we can do to try to do a little bit of work without putting ourselves in a precarious position where we're going to be exposed to enemy fire. You can see I'm trying to do some work with Sid's grenade here. I was thinking maybe get it through the window and get a good bounce, but that really didn't make any sense. So instead, I'm wasting a lot of AP here, just moving around trying to figure out the best support place to put Sid. And what I end up doing is just tucking him in behind the bunkers to let the enemies take their next turn and see where they move, and then hopefully I'll be able to capitalize on their movement and have a better plan of attack on the next turn. So you can see here we're trying to move Diana up a little bit, or I guess move her back a little bit. We don't want to end up, again, putting her somewhere where she's going to end up taking a shot from an enemy, but at the same time, from where she is, she's not very effective, and we want to make sure that all of our units are in the fight at all times. So we're going to fall her back behind full cover, and that leaves us with Alejandro and Damiano. Unfortunately, they don't have grenades, they don't have proximity mines, they really don't have a lot to work with at this time as far as ways to knock the Overwatch out. So we're going to end up, like I said, we're going to fall them back, or strategically retreat, I guess would be a better way of saying this. We're going to put Damiano over here with Sid, kind of put him in that deep cover. It's a trench and it has sandbags, so that definitely works as full cover. We're going to fall Nail back a little bit, and it's only a 10% hit chance, so it's really not even worth taking the wasting the AP. So I'm going to put him in this corner here, which gives him the full cover status, and he's pretty safe. I don't think that from inside the building those disciples can get a shot on him. So we got one coming through the middle, one going down the hallway, and then one disciple who went around the building. And finally, this rifle drone decided he's going to do something and advance a little bit. The ticker's coming up, and we had another enemy kind of expire on us. So we're down to 5 units. We know it's 3 disciples, a rifle drone, and a ticker. And the biggest threat, obviously, right now is all of these disciples who are really, really pushing pretty hard to try to get at us. So we're going to use Sid's grenade. We're going to knock the Overwatch out on this Disciple. That should free up Diana because she was being Overwatched, so now she can go to work. Damiano is not very effective right now. You see he's only got a 43% hit chance he misses. He doesn't have frags or proximity mines, so we're going to... I'm going to wait and try to see what I can do for work with the other units first before deciding on what I spend the remaining 2 action points of Damiano's on. We use Diana's grenade to take that injured Disciple off the board. Now we're going to follow her back behind this kind of tank-looking unit, or tank-looking cover, I should say. And that's going to give her a pretty good shot on both of the remaining Disciples. Unfortunately, her entire action point pool has been used up, and both Empower and Surge are still cooling down from Alejandro. So he can't do anything to repower Diana. So all we're going to do is we're going to fall back safely, and we're going to fall straight back with Alejandro on his first turn to make sure that he doesn't trigger the Overwatch, and then we're going to put him in cover behind that tank, and basically I hate to say it, we're just running. We're buying ourselves time so we can get into a better position to take out these pursuing Disciples. You could see that Damiano's Nasher shot on that turn did in fact hit, followed up by a snub shot. And again, we're down to just a measly 34 health on that Disciple, yet he refuses to die. So we're going to move Sid over here. He's only in half cover right now, which is a little bit dangerous, but I'm starting to get a little frustrated with this mission, and I'm playing a little more aggressively. So we use the snub from Sid. He does drop the Disciple, and for some reason the Disciple just up and died. He didn't go into the down but not out status. He got down and then died, which again, it enraged the nearby Disciple, which isn't great. However, it caused him to come out of that building and gave Diana a nice 97% hit chance on him. So he's down. We've got 3 enemies left, but really it's 2 because that Disciple is in down but not out. One of the enemies is a ticker and one is a rifle drone, and basically all we have to do is finish cleaning up these enemies. Now, it's really easy at this point to start getting overconfident and just start rushing, but remember, even if it's a standard rifle drone, there's a very, very, very good chance that the rifle drone can hit you and end your turn. I mean, even if you have a little bit of damage, one clean shot from that hammer burst can be enough to drop you. So remember, you've got to be careful. Diana, even with a 37% hit chance, I wasn't expecting that to hit, but it did. I was hoping to move that ticker up so one of the other guys could clean it up, but whatever. It took it off the board. I'm not going to complain. We're using Nail to get a little bit of revenge, and of course he can't even do that right. He just got a couple of partial hits. So we're going to reload with the units that still have action points left, kind of wait and see what where this rifle drone goes next. Because, and I've said it in past videos, a lot of times when you're down to just 1 unit remaining like this, they like to do this stupid little stutter step where they only take 1 or 2 steps at a time, and they don't really do anything, but if you get too close to them, they'll start acting normal again, and they'll either overwatch you or they'll take shots at you, and we don't want that to happen. We're so close to the end, it'd be really bad if, you know, we ended up botching it right now. So we're going to Ghost. We're still trying to collect all of these equipment cases because we want to have as much equipment available as possible. So we Ghost with our Scout to get closer to that. Now we're going to move Nail up. We're going to give him another shot to get a little bit of revenge. So he's shooting at him again, 90% hit chance, and finally Nail gets a kill and takes that guy off the board. So we're down to 1 enemy remaining before we clear the mission. The only one left is that rifle drone who's up by the emulsion tanks. We're moving Sid up, keeping him in full cover, keeping our heads down as much as we can, because like I said, you never know when that last enemy is just going to decide to up and become violent instead of just doing his little stutter step. So here we go. There we go again. 1 step and an Overwatch. Not a big deal. You see we got our Scout who's right by that equipment case, so we're going to have him grab the equipment case. It does cause me to lose my hidden status, but you know what? That's fine. We're going to throw a frag grenade very close to the, not the Scout, the hammer burst drone. So now if he decides to move again, he's going to get blown up. So that should give a relative amount of safety to all of my units. Sid is close enough to do a little bit of damage, but instead we're going to move Diana up because we want to use her long shot. It has a better reach, obviously, than the Retro Lancer, and it can bypass the Overwatch cone of that drone. So we're going to use First Blood level 3, which gives 100% boost to damage, and boom, just like that, it was a headshot, it was a critical shot, took the enemy off the board. So that is it. That is the entirety of that mission. We'll blow up this this emulsion here. I'll open up the cases after I show you what we got for XP and levels and all that, and that's going to pretty much wrap up the video, guys. So I know this was a bit of a long one, just over an hour, but we're getting towards the end of the game, so these missions are going to get more and more difficult and more time consuming. So hopefully you've been finding this guide helpful. We got a legendary case, we got 4 epic cases, and we got the epic precision grip with the expertise skill. Let's pop these cases open and see what we got for goodies. I don't think none of our units level up here. Sid is very, very close. I can't believe he didn't get it, but he's very close. He'll level up on the next mission. We'll claim our cases and see what we got here. Alright, so we got the Mulcher accuracy bonus, 15%, which is okay. And then nothing. We got the high ground skill. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found this helpful. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. You can also check us out on Twitch at Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Blades of God, and until next time, have a great day everyone.